My ex-wife's surprising life after our divorce, caught on camera. The video hits our neighborhood chat before I've even brushed my teeth. A midnight clip from a doorbell cam, one street over. Claire steps into the frame with a stranger and a fat envelope, both of them glancing off camera toward a parked luxury sedan. The porch light makes the paper glow like a prop in a magic trick. A handoff, a whisper, then they split. She toward the shadows, he toward the car. The caption under the clip is pure gasoline. Recognize her? I'm Jonah, 35, fourth grade teacher, the guy who carries extra band-aids and fixes jammed pencil sharpeners. I live 3 blocks from Claire and our 8-year-old daughter, Ava. Our divorce was civil enough that I still mow Claire's strip of lawn when her shift runs late. We have an agreement. No surprises, no bad blood around the kid. Custody is 50-50, but it lives on goodwill. Goodwill evaporates in rumor. The chat pings and pings. Someone overlays slow-motion arrows on Claire's hands. Someone else claims the car is a doctor's, or a dealer's, or a councilman's. My phone starts vibrating with private messages. You okay? Saw the clip. You should fight for full custody, bro. My principal, Ms. Ward, texts just one line. Keep your head. I watch the clip again with the sound on. Wind. Shoes on concrete. When Claire looks up at the camera, her face is set like a student who studied for the wrong test and refuses to guess. After the handoff, the stranger taps the envelope once, like a ritual, and pockets it. The timestamp reads 0:43. The car's license plate catches a flare of light and becomes unreadable. I pause at Claire's expression in the final frame. Not guilt, not thrill. Purpose. I should call her. Instead, I open notes and type a list labeled facts. I write the time, the angle, the house number. I write, Ava's chorus concert Saturday, because every choice now brushes a child's life. Then the chat moderator posts a poll about unsafe activity and tags my name below it. Ava pads into the kitchen, hair a mess, and asks if I'm making pancakes as the poll counter starts ticking up. We didn't crash, we drifted. Claire and I married young, before either of us spoke our fluencies in conflict. We were decent together, shared groceries, traded chores, traded jokes. But after Ava, 2 calendars moved into our house and never learned to share a wall. I loved systems, Claire loved clean outcomes. We got tired of translating. Our divorce last spring was a handshake, not a courtroom brawl. We kept the house in Claire's name because her commute fitted better. I took the little rental near the park. We agreed on 2 guiding rules. 1, don't surprise the other parent. 2, don't let grown-up storms soak the kid. We wrote them on the first page of a shared notebook that also contains lunch ideas and coat sizes. What I didn't understand, then, was why Claire seemed sharpened. She started dressing like she was headed somewhere serious, even on off days. She started keeping a second phone, which she called a work phone, without saying what work. She slept odd hours. When I asked, she said, "You don't need to fix this, Jonah." It stung, but we were exes now. I tried to take her at her word. The fresh wound arrives 3 days before the video, in the parents group text for Ava's chorus. A mother named Dana screenshots Claire's Instagram story, just a city skyline at night, and comments, "Must be nice." Claire replies with a heart emoji and nothing else. I reply nothing. Marcus, my best friend since middle school, replies privately to me. Do not let the peanut gallery write your custody story. Now the doorbell clip has turned the peanut gallery into a stadium. I replay the first seconds again, hunting for romantic heat and finding none, only logistics. Claire's shoulders are squared. The stranger doesn't lean in. It looks less like a tryst than a drop. I text Claire. We need to talk before pickup. 3 dots blink. They vanish. Then a single line arrives I have not seen since before we split. Her text says, "Please don't add to it." No emoji. No explanation. I write back 3 drafts and send none. Instead, I open our ancient spreadsheet of bills, the one we used to cancel duplicates after the split. A couple small subscriptions remained in both names, a cloud storage plan, a parking app we once used for the zoo, a digital newspaper. 2 weeks ago, the parking app charged $18.50 at 12:11 a.m. downtown. Last week, the cloud storage bumped from 200 gigabytes to 2 terabytes at 1:02 a.m. The newspaper added Metro archives. I scroll Claire's public posts. Her geotags claim home at times that now look borrowed. Meanwhile, after-school pickup last Tuesday got weird. A guy I didn't recognize sat across from the playground gate in a car with the engine running, doing that not-looking look. When Claire arrived, he drove off. She didn't see him. I did. Don't chase shadows, Marcus says when I tell him over coffee. Chase facts. Start at the doorbell. He means, request the full clip from the homeowner, not the cropped version the neighborhood chat shared. He also means, download, don't stream, write down times, mirror the file. He's the friend who plays devil's advocate like it's chess. I DM the homeowner, a retiree named Bert who installs his own shelves and narrates HOA meetings like baseball games. He replies fast. You can have the file if you promise to keep it off the chat. I bring him banana bread and a flash drive. We watch in his den while he complains about porch pirates. The full footage shows 2 sequences. At 0:41, the luxury sedan rolls up, idles, and kills its lights. At 0:43, Claire and the stranger enter from opposite sides. At 0:44, the handoff. At 0:45, Claire leaves on foot. The stranger tucks the envelope under his jacket, and the car goes forward. At 0:47, the stranger returns briefly, lifts the envelope to the porch camera, then disappears again. I freeze the frame. A sticker seals the flap, a small blue circle with a white cross. Bert says, church. I say, clinic. Marcus texts 3 words that move the story sideways. His text, PDA saw it. By afternoon, I'm seated in a library chair under fluorescent buzz while Ms. Ward meets with a PDA subcommittee that looks like it runs on decoff and indignation. Dana says, we're concerned about the optics for our children. Another parent says, at minimum, Jonah should refrain from volunteering this month. I say, this is about a private citizen on a public sidewalk. Ms. Ward clears her throat and reminds everyone that schools do not adjudicate neighborhood gossip. That evening, a certified letter waits in my mailbox. A law firm representing an unnamed client requests that you cease disseminating defamatory interpretations of a video. I haven't disseminated anything. Gossip travels without me. Still, my stomach performs a slow roll, the way it does when a field trip bus is late. I call Claire. She answers on the 4th ring. Is Ava with you? She asks. She's finishing math. I say, Claire, what is the envelope? Silence. I hear traffic. She says, it's not what they think. I ask, what is it then? She says, me trying to keep something alive. Then she hangs up. Marcus arrives with takeout and a file folder. We build a timeline like grown-ups, he says, laying out printer paper and uncapping a pen. Doorbell timestamp. Parking receipt. Cloud storage change. Newspaper archive add-on. Your weird playground car. Claire's skyline story. He draws arrows, boxes, a question mark by the blue sticker. We need provenance, not vibes. I email the parking app asking for receipts tied to our old joint profile. I request the city's public camera footage for the block near Bert's house, citing the time window. I send a polite note to the law firm requesting the basis for their letter and the name of their client. I print the certified mail envelope and slide it into Marcus's folder. At 9, my phone buzzes with a voicemail notification from an unknown number. I press play on speaker. A woman's voice says, if you care about Claire and Ava, meet me tomorrow at noon. She chooses a corner table in a coffee shop with a clear view of both exits. She wears no makeup, a gray hoodie, and a nurse's badge clipped to her pocket. Rivera, RN. She looks like someone who has run out of patience for euphemisms. I'm not her lawyer, she says, before I can guess. I'm a nurse and sometimes a reporter. She slides a laminated photo across. The same blue circle with a white cross on a sticker sheet labeled Resident File, Street Claire Care. Street Claire is a long-term care facility, Rivera says. Claire's been documenting conditions after hours with me and 2 others. That envelope held copies of MedPass sheets and incident logs from a whistleblower. I blink. Why at a stranger's porch? Rivera smiles without humor. Because our source doesn't trust their own lobby. We use front porches as dead drops, then sticker seal to track if anyone tampered. The luxury car is a board member who wants the paper trail gone. I think about the way Claire's shoulders looked, braced, deliberate. I think about her second phone's late pings. I think about Ava's chorus and the PDA poll. Why not tell me? I ask. Rivera shrugs. Because people leak. Because custody scares are easy to weaponize against women. Because results first, explanations later. Marcus texts, status? I type later. Out loud I say, what do you need from me? Rivera says, keep your head. Gather screenshots. If you have the full doorbell clip, we'll need it to timestamp the drop. Also, watch for letters. We rattled someone. When I get home, Ava is building a fort under the dining table out of blankets and optimism. Is Mom okay? She asks. She seemed tired today. I say, she's working hard on something important. Ava nods like that's enough and shows me a glue stick that refuses to open. My hands do something useful. At midnight, a second letter slides under my door without a stamp or a return address. If you keep pushing, the custody agreement will be reviewed. I don't sleep much. I line up my coffee cups like chess pawns and start emailing. The parking app replies with 3 receipts. Garage E 058, Lot B 114, Garage E again 203, each paid with a virtual wallet created under the alias C Lane. The cloud storage email shows a new shared folder titled Medication Rounds. Read. Created 1:02 a.m. Owner Claire. Second, my newspaper account shows a half-dozen PDF downloads of state LTC inspection reports, 2019 to 2022. I forward everything to a fresh Gmail I make for this. Jonah. Records. I write subject lines like a librarian and save files with dates at the front. Marcus adds a column for external verification, door logs, keycard swipes, security cameras. We need someone in the building, he says. Rivera replies with a name. Hall, city inspector, who's been waiting for a credible citizen packet that doesn't smell like a grudge. Before school, I return to Bert's den with banana bread round 2 and ask to export the original MP4 with metadata. He obliges. We slow the frame where the envelope lifts. The sticker is clear enough for a printer model, DYMO 450. Good. Trackable. At lunch, Ms. Ward taps my classroom door. Some parents want you removed from chorus duty Saturday, she says softly. I told them that's not how we do things. But keep your replies minimal. I nod. My kids practice hand motions for this little light of mine. And for a moment the world is simple, small hands making suns. After school, I drive to St. Clair and sit in my car across the street, just long enough to watch shift change. A man in a pressed shirt smokes under a no-smoking sign. He looks like the stranger from the clip, minus the envelope. He checks his watch twice. That night, a file lands in Jonah. Records from an unlisted address. An audio file captured at a lobby intercom. Timestamp 039, a male voice saying, "It's for Rivera," and a female voice replying, "Not here, porch rules." In the background, a music box version of You Are My Sunshine plays on loop. Claire texts me at 12:07 a.m. Please don't let the video ruin the inspections this week. By morning, my apartment looks like a crime lab run by a schoolteacher. Marcus brings color-coded sticky notes. I bring my laminator from class because paper survives better when it's sealed. We map the night. Doorbell 043, intercom 039, garage E058 and 203, cloud 102. I email the city clerk for public records on St. Clair complaints and ask IT at my school, off the record, how to preserve metadata without corrupting it. He replies with a step-by-step that ends. Don't rename originals. Copy to a write-once drive. Rivera texts. Hall can meet 5 p.m. Side room at the City Inn. Bring Bert's full file and printouts of receipts. She also adds, expect pushback from St. Clair's council. They've got deep pockets. I forward the cease and desist letter to her. She replies with 3 words. That confirms movement. At lunch, I take photos of my classroom clock for a sanity check and whisper to myself the rule that steadies 4th graders during math tests. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. After dismissal, while stacking crayons, I get an email from the parking system with raw logs, device IDs, entry and exit times, payment tokens linked to C Lane. I cross-check the device ID with Claire's old iPhone box I still have. Different. Burner. Purposeful. Bert calls to say a man came by asking if anyone requested copies of neighborhood videos for a school project. Bert said no, and then called me. I add third-party visitor to the timeline. Marcus's jaw tightens. If they're phishing, your comm is currency, he says. At 4:30, I print what we have. No commentary, just dates, times, places. On the way out, MS. Ward holds the door and says, "Let the facts do the talking, Mr. Jonah." Her faith steadies me more than coffee. At the City Inn, the side room hums with a projector fan. Rivera counts folders. Marcus checks the HDMI. Hall enters with a city badge and a battered notebook that looks like it's seen more truth than Twitter. He says, "Tell it from the sidewalk to the sticker," and I begin at 0:39. Halfway through my careful timeline, the hotel fire alarm erupts and the hallway fills with smoke that doesn't smell like a drill. We file down the stairs behind a bridal party in matching satin robes. In the alley, a maintenance worker waves a towel under a smoke detector until it stops shrieking. "Kitchen sensor," he says. Hall narrows his eyes and says, "Or a nudge." We wait in the cool air until the all clear, then return to the side room to find the projector stand half-rotated and the power strip switched off. My stomach drops. Marcus checks our bag. Everything is there, but someone tried to spook the room. It works a little. I hear my own voice go thin as I continue. Hall holds a hand up. "Breathe," he says. "Conspiracies love adrenaline. Facts need oxygen." He flips open his notebook and asks Rivera for the internal complaint numbers. She rattles them off like multiplication facts. He asks me for the raw MP4 checksum. I show the hash I generated per IT's instructions. He smiles. "You did homework. Good." Then Rivera opens a new folder. A sworn statement from a street Claire night nurse, initials EM, describing short-staffed med rounds, bed alarms turned off, and a directive from management to stage rooms before state walkthroughs. The man in our doorbell clip, E.M., identifies him as Lyle Carter, assistant administrator, known for arriving after midnight to swap binders before audits. The envelope in the video wasn't cash. It was incident logs being pulled from circulation. Claire wasn't receiving money. She was intercepting evidence. I sag into a chair. The room tilts back to sensible. "Why didn't Claire tell me?" I ask again, smaller. Rivera says, "Because sometimes the person you love is the person you can't risk with a leak, even if they would do the right thing." Hall taps the sticker photo. "DYMO 450 can be tied to a unit if we find the roll," he says. "If that sticker shows up on a binder inside, we have chain." I text Claire, "Meeting with Hall now. Please trust me enough to let this breathe." 3 dots appear, vanish, reappear. Then, if you go loud too fast, families could lose placements. Hall looks up at the ceiling speaker and frowns. "Did you book this room under your own name, Jonah?" We build our actions in layers, like lesson plans that have to work even on rainy days. Layer 1, preservation. I upload copies to 2 cloud services with expiring links, share them with Hall and Rivera, and stash the Write Once drive in the school safe under a sealed envelope labeled Property of Jonah. Return upon request. Ms. Ward doesn't ask. She says, "Understood," and signs the log. Layer 2, privacy. Marcus drafts a short statement for me to pin under the neighborhood chat video. Please refrain from speculation. An ongoing formal review concerns elder care compliance, not personal conduct. Share concerns with the city inspector's office. He leaves out names, dates, and drama. We rehearse read aloud in a calm tone, the way I read big words to small kids. We set my account to limited comments. Layer 3, custody. I text Claire proposing a temporary pause on handoffs in crowded public spots until the PDA storm cools. Offer to do all pickups this week and swap an extra Sunday next month. Commit to keeping Ava out of any adult conversation. Claire replies, "Yes to your plan. Thank you for not feeding them." Layer 4, the trap. Hall wants a controlled meeting with Street Claire management, where we present only enough to demand logs and preserve cameras. We decide to set it at the City Inn during a scheduled family forum Street Claire hosts monthly. Rivera will invite 2 families who filed complaints. I will bring Bert's unedited file. Marcus will run the projector. Claire, if she agrees, will sit in the back, invisible but present. Our goal is not theater. Our goal is leverage. I breathe easier writing steps. Steps don't care about gossip. Steps carry you forward whether your feelings behave or not. I delete 3 drafts of a text to the PDA and send none. I make Ava's lunch, cut her apples like little fans, and tuck a note that says, "You are brave in small, big ways." At 10, a new message arrives in Jonah. Records, a photo of a DYMO roll with 3 stickers missing, time-stamped inside St. Clair's supply closet, Captioned, found it before Lyle did. Marcus reads the caption, then asks the question I'm afraid to answer plainly. Can you trust that your ex is safe doing this? Marcus asks quietly, no judgment, just the kind of gravity honest friends use. The question hits a place I keep behind jokes and systems. I think of Claire's face in the porch light, set, not scared. I think of Ava's chorus on Saturday, her small hand waving when she finds me in the crowd. We make it less dangerous by making it more official, I say. We light the corners. We rehearse for the forum. Marcus runs the slides with boring font and big dates like Hall wants. Rivera fine-tunes the order. Foundation first, doorbell, intercom, parking, then context, DYMO stickers, MedPass logs, then request, unlock camera archives, preserve key cards, pull on-call rosters. She trims adjectives like a surgeon trims dead tissue. Don't inflame, she says. Inspire paperwork. At school, a parent corners me by the copier and says, we need role models, Jonah. I say, we need facts, Karen, and regret the edge in my voice as soon as I hear it bounce off cinderblock. Ms. Ward raises an eyebrow later. I apologize and volunteer extra lunch duty. Adults need timeouts, too. The law firm emails again, this time CCNG my principal. Our client is deeply concerned about defamatory insinuations. Ms. Ward replies with a sentence I want framed. Our employee is focused on education. Please direct community concerns to the appropriate city office. I send her flowers under the name, the 4th grade. At 4:12 p.m. Claire texts. One of their aides warned me Lyle suspects a leak with porch help. Don't bring Ava to the forum. We weren't going to, but seeing it written snaps my attention into a tighter beam. I loop our sitter. I loop my mother, who only knows that grown-up Storm is passing and that Ava might like extra library time. At 6:58 p.m., we take our seats at the city and forum. The Street Claire team sits at a table with branded folders. Lyle's tie is tight. His smile is tighter. Hall opens with formality. Rivera cues the first slide. A hand touches my shoulder from behind, gentle, familiar, and braver than I'm ready for tonight. Claire slips into the second-to-last row in a plain sweater, hair tucked into a low knot, face blank in the way you get when you've practiced not showing your weather. She doesn't look at me. She stares at the table where Lyle stacks papers like he's covering a hole. Hall thanks everyone, introduces his badge, and presents the goal, alignment on record preservation while we review concerns. No accusations, just verbs. Preserve, produce, provide. We show the doorbell clip with the audio muted, then the intercom file with the date clear, then the parking receipts with the entry and exit times highlighted. Lyle leans back. So your ex-wife is running errands at midnight. He says to me across the room, too casual. Sounds like a personal problem. Rivera ignores him. Slide 4, she says to Marcus. The DYMO sticker appears, big and crisp. The room inhales as one. Hall says, DYMO 450 rolls are numbered at purchase. We will need your purchase records and current inventory, Mr. Carter. Lyle's jaw ticks. We buy office supplies by the case, he says. You're welcome to count labels. Labels are step 1, Hall answers. Step 2 is matching those labels to binders holding MedPass sheets that no longer match log entries. He nods to Rivera, who reads short excerpts from EM's statement. No names, only times, and the words bed alarm silenced. A family in the front row squeezes hands and doesn't let go. Then Lyle tries a pivot I didn't expect. Jonah's playing hero to win custody optics, he says, loud enough for the room. Check the neighborhood chat. Heads turn. A few phones lift. Heat climbs my neck. It's a good shot. If this meeting becomes about me, the binders vanish into noise. I breathe and imagine Ms. Ward's posted. Keep your head. I stand, keep my palms open at my sides like I do for nervous kids, and say, this is not about my private life. It's about whether Grandma's medication matches Grandma's chart. Hall nods once. Rivera changes the slide to the blandest request list ever projected. Camera archives, last 90 days, keycard logs, on-call staff, purchase orders, stickers. Lyle smirks and says, we'll need to consult counsel. As a hotel staffer steps in, whispers to him, and places a sealed envelope on the table with a blue circle sticker on the flap. The room goes quiet in that heavy way that makes paper crackle louder. Lal palms the envelope like a magician palming cards, hesitates, and glances at the staffer, who mouths, "Deliveries." Hall says, "Please open that, Mr. Carter." Lal taps the flap, stalls, then pretends to misplace a letter opener until Rivera slides her house key across. He peels the sticker. Inside, photocopies of the very med-pass sheets Rivera described. 2 versions of the same hour for the same wing, one with initials in neat lines, one with boxes blank except for a later corrected scrawl. The blue sticker, once removed, leaves a pale circle of residue that matches the faint mark on the corner of the papers. Chain. Hall's pen moves. We play the intercom audio. The words "porch rules" land like a gavel. Claire doesn't move. I think of our rule in the notebook: don't surprise the other parent, and feel the ache of how far we've drifted from simple promises into necessary lies. Lal tries to laugh it off. "Looks like someone's personal sticker machine got busy," he says. Then a grandmother in the front row stands, voice steady. "My husband fell last month because his bed alarm wasn't on," she says. "Your nurse told me to stop worrying." She points at the screen. "I've been worried ever since." The room shifts. The story no longer belongs to me or to Claire. It belongs to every family who trusted a Hall light to mean help. Hall keeps it procedural. "Street Claire will provide archives by close of business Wednesday," he says, "and a third-party auditor will mirror the data." He turns to me. "Mr. Jonah, thank you for the footage." He turns to Claire without naming her. "And for what you've risked to keep the record honest." Lal opens his mouth, closes it, then checks his phone as if a better script might text itself. Rivera clicks the final slide, a plain email address at the inspector's office for additional statements. Phones rise again, this time for photos of instructions instead of gossip. We begin to pack. Claire finally looks at me, and there's something like apology paired with steel. A man in a blazer brushes past me in the aisle and murmurs, "Tell your ex to stop playing martyr, or the next envelope gets heavier." The city moves fast when the right pressure lands in the right place. By noon the next day, Hall's office issues a preservation order. By evening, St. Clair's corporate counsel releases a statement promising full cooperation. By morning, Rivera's piece runs. No names, no sensational footage, just quiet dates and practical questions, and an email for families to share their experiences. The tide turns not because it screams, but because it shows its work. My inbox fills with a different kind of message now. A grandfather who wants to understand his wife's bruises. A daughter who says the call light felt like a suggestion. A nurse who whispers, "Thank you," between shifts. I forward each to the inspector's address. The PDA thread performs a graceless pivot. Dana posts, "We support transparency and safety for our seniors," then quietly deletes the poll. Ms. Ward never mentions it. At pickup, 2 parents who avoided my eye for days now nod too quickly, and one hands me a bag of store-bought cookies like amends come from miles. At home, a pale envelope waits without a return address. Inside, a copy of our custody agreement with the page about moral conduct, highlighted in yellow and no note. I take a photo, timestamp it, email it to Hall and Rivera, then shred it. Marcus reminds me, threats are data points. Claire texts a link to a shared calendar titled "No Surprises" with checkboxes for pickups, concerts, and "Do not discuss in front of Ava." I check every box for this week and add a note. Saturday, chorus, row 5. She replies with a single heart, which feels like an apology that doesn't require me to forgive before I'm ready. That night, Bert calls to say a man in a blazer knocked again asking about school projects, and this time Bert filmed him from the window. We watch together. It's Lyle. He doesn't like not owning the angles. 2 days later, Rivera forwards an internal email from Street Claire. Carter placed on leave pending investigation. External audit scheduled. Family 4 minutes attached. The city sets a public meeting for next Thursday. At 1:18 a.m., my phone lights with a doorbell notification from my own camera. Someone's at my stoop, and the shadow holds an envelope. I don't open the door. I call the non-emergency line, start the porch light, and let the camera do its job. The shadow retreats. In the morning, I file the footage, then recheck the screws on the strike plate, because small hardware feels like control. I buy Ava a brighter bike light, and text Claire the model number, so we match. Boundaries become architecture. Claire and I shift to written drop-offs only, with a standing Sunday check-in where we discuss Ava's week and nothing else. I start therapy, because being the calm one doesn't mean I am calm, and because my stomach shouldn't loop every time a letter arrives. My therapist says, grief can look like project management, and I laugh in relief at being seen so exactly. Ms. Ward hands me a thank you card signed by my students that says, "You keep us safe," with a drawing of me as a stick figure wearing a cape. I tape it inside my cupboard and cry where nobody can perform sympathy. Marcus makes me promise to sleep more than 5 hours and to stop reading the comments, which feel like weather in a city I no longer live in. The inspector's office confirms that camera archives show binders moved at 0:52 and 1:06 on 3 separate nights, and that keycard logs placed while near the supply closet during those windows. Rivera's piece spawns copycats that twist and embellish. We ignore those and stick to the boring channel. Families file statements. EM applies for whistleblower protections. Claire asks if we can add one more rule to the NO surprises calendar. If one of us gets threatened, both of us know. I agree. Trust is not a flood. It's a drip system that keeps something alive without drowning it. I tell her I'm sorry for the deadbolt feeling in my texts. She says she's sorry for the porch. Saturday, I sit in row 5 while Ava sings This Little Light of Mine, and I look at Claire across the gym. Our kid's voice is small and bright and perfectly on time. When the applause ends, Ava scans for us, finds us both, and waves like she can hold us steady by sheer will. On the way out, a stranger brushes my arm and slips a folded photocopy into my hand with a single typed sentence. The sentence reads, "Check medication round 3B, January 12th. Compare binder to digital." It's not a threat, it's a breadcrumb. I pass it to Hall without keeping a copy, because I am learning when to hold and when to hand off. He emails later. The discrepancy is real. A resident missed a dose noted as given. Corrective actions will finally involve more than a training video. The city's statement says ongoing review. It's not fireworks, but it is movement. What changed for me is smaller and larger than any headline. I stopped letting other people's theories drive my car. I started writing my life like procedures, not posts. Claire's surprising life wasn't a scandal. It was a tired woman doing 2 jobs, the one that pays and the one that keeps someone's mother safe. My part wasn't heroics. It was patience and paperwork and a decision not to make our child a prop in any adult story. Here's what I'd tell anyone watching. Believe your eyes, then verify them. Download files, don't forward rumors. Label everything with dates. Ask for original footage, not crops. If you feel your heart sprint, write instead of posting. Trust keeps custody alive. Facts keep communities honest. If your ex is not your enemy, don't audition them for the role to satisfy a chorus. And if you're tempted to turn pain into theater, remember the families who need your calm more than your victory lap. The hopeful image I keep is mundane. 2 calendars synced without drama. Ava's note in her lunch saying, "You are brave in small, big ways." A kitchen table with no envelopes that make my hands shake. Claire and I do not become who we were. We become people who can sit at opposite ends of the same row and clap for the same child without flinching at shadows. Later that night, I lock my porch, check the camera, and switch off the hall light, grateful for each quiet square of ordinary we get to keep tonight.